Welcome to Retail Retold, the stories behind how that store landed in your neighborhood. I'm Chris Ressa, in conversation with the people and stories shaping retail and real estate. Brought to you by DLC. Welcome to Retail Retold, everyone. Today I am joined by Joe and Alim from Surface. This is going to be a unique episode. I am excited for them to be here. Joe and Alim, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having us.
So, before we get started, let's start with the Surface. Can you give the elevator pitch of what Surface is and what you guys do?
Sure. So Surface is AI operating system for full retail store lifecycle. We're starting from helping retailers to understand site selection, lease administration, facility management, and construction project management. The goal is to help retailers to open store faster with less risk and manage them more efficiently.
Got it. And Joe, can you give a little bit about your background, who you are, and what you've been up to before Surface?
Sure. I was the founder and CEO of Lucernex, which is the largest lease administration solution for retailers. Hundreds of retailers still use it today. Acquired by Accruent, 2017. And since then, I've been helping other small companies. I founded two other tech companies until I found Alim and joined forces to kind of take what we started at Lucernex to the next level, the next evolution of store lifecycle.
And Alim, what's your background?
I'm literally aerospace engineer. I was part of International Space Station mission control team.
He's a rocket scientist, a real rocket scientist.
Yeah. And also part of my career, I spent as a consultant. I was part of Oracle implementation team. I was part of business consulting, IT advisory. And then in 2015, I started my first company, which was a construction material marketplace. That company was acquired, and I started another one and then pivoted that to Surface. And all the companies I built was in construction space, probably because my dad is construction engineer, architect. So I'm technically from 5-year start. I was on the job sites, helping him a lot to leverage tech mostly, starting from Excel, PowerPoint to Autodesk products. So that's kind of my background.
It's fascinating. How does an aerospace engineer end up dealing with retail stores?
Yeah, I believe that, that retailers is one of the most efficient companies in terms of managing real estate and construction, because you have to build store fast. You have to be efficient, because this is actually your market share. This is your kind of revenue. And if you think about AI as a system, is a system of being more efficient. So when I first start playing with GPT-2, I realized, wow, this thing will change everything. And then I start searching okay, who would adopt that first and who would leverage most from that AI? And I literally was looking at McDonald's and say hey, this is a race car in construction. They are built 40,000 stores. And there's a lot of stores like this, like Starbucks, 7-Eleven, Circle K, a lot of companies who is building stores massively. Some of the companies building 3 stores every day. So it's huge. To make that at that level and manage every single store ops, you need to have a huge internal team to do that. So that's why I said wow, this is where AI will adopt it first. And this is actually rocket science, yeah? To open thousands of stores per year. You should have a system.
And what's interesting, the whole process is full of all these documents. We have all these documents, construction contracts, lease agreements, amendments, all these things, and they're just all the information, all that knowledge is trapped in these documents. The biggest thing that AI changes from my perspective is all those documents become little teeny databases. We ingest them, we know what's in them. We no longer have to take a lease abstraction that was done 10 years ago or 15 years ago into a piece of software that's incomplete. We just take the document, and the document itself tells us everything we need to know. So we have access to this information in seconds, that and accurate information, the current lease, the current amendments, the current construction contracts, the GC contracts, the bids, the change orders, everything in real time. So instead of waiting for somebody to take a document, take part of it, put it into a database so that we can use that little bit of information, we have it all. And we can combine all of it across all of their systems without expensive integrations. We just log in like we're a user. We can talk to all of their systems. We can not only read everything, combine all the data together and think, but we can even enter data back like we're a user. So it's just a whole new world of technology.
Let's take a step back. You use a buzzword that retail uses, and why don't we get just clear on what it is? You said the store life cycle management. Let's talk about what in your mind's eye is store life cycle management. Joe, can we get it like in a Twitter message of 140 characters or less?
Trees to keys, man. Trees to keys. So that's what we used to call it, but it's basically all of the departments that come together to envision a store, build the store, get the documents, sign the lease, and then manage it long term. That's the life cycle of the store. So it's a life cycle of the real estate. When we say the store, we mean the physical asset.
Okay. And so there's all those components to get the store open, and then there's the lease administration once the store is open.
Right. And the facilities management. Yeah, the work orders.
I would say like it's from opportunity to open the store till like termination of lease agreement. So is like the store life cycle.
And so what do you see as what are the outcomes that, if we're talking in outcomes, that you see happening by people embracing Surface and, AI operating systems for the life cycle management of excuse me, of a store?
So why don't you
So
start with construction and I can work on lease? Go ahead.
yeah, let's do that. So from the construction perspective, it's for sure like the outcome is open store faster. That like accelerate the timeline. This is what we see is definitely good, and AI is already helping to do that. Second thing is to detect risk earlier. Sometimes like 15, 30 days before you know that, oh, there would be delay. This is important, especially like in supply chain and understanding like when you need to hire the store team and all the other things. And the third overall is like how retailer can reduce the cost per open like the store or for the each construction project overall. Like even if you're replacing HVAC in the current store, this is a construction project as well. So cost of projects, cost of project management, that kind of like outcomes that retailer can have. So that's what I believe from the construction side.
And on the lease side, it's
So
renewals,
just
like
to
better.
recap, Joe, real quick, Alim, it's speed, risk, cost. Those are the three things
Yeah,
that you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. All right, Joe.
So yeah, on the lease side, it's certainly decision-making speed with recoveries. You'd be amazed at how many retailers don't have the time to do appropriate CAMREX, as an example, where the AI can do that for them. Co-tenancy. How many people miss co-tenancy and kick-out clauses because they don't know they're available? The AI knows when they're available. They know who's moving out. They know when. Um, so we can basically tell them, hey, do you know Macy's is moving all these stores? You have a co-tenancy clause. It can take advantage of this. And oh, by the way, it fits your overall portfolio strategy because you're investing this much money this year and you need to change this store. So it's certainly a ton of money in recoveries. It's just better decision making. AI around portfolio optimization can be a difference of 5 to 10% in terms of better revenue and in terms of minimizing mistakes that are made in the manual process. And then on top of that, it's the speed again. It's speed. You have to make these decisions fast. You got to know when to close them. You got to know when to open. You got to know where. And it's not. And right now, the way it's done is these are done in vacuums where people are making these decisions based on a set of facts that are right now. But things change so rapidly that by the time they're actually deploying the capital, the thing they base the decision on has changed. So it's revenue and recoveries, in my opinion, on the lease side.
So, awesome. This is exciting stuff. Really cool. I'm no AI expert, but I've been going knee deep. And what I would tell you as a buyer of product, being a landlord, one of the things I struggle with, and here's going to be my first challenge question for you, is it feels very much like the software era in the 2008 to 2020 area, where every day a new SaaS company called me and had a product that solved a problem. And guess what? It worked. It was great. But if I took every call, forget about the cost to onboard all of them, just the sheer ability to actually onboard them from a time and getting the people to actually do it, you'd be out of business. And I've spoken to a lot of AI groups in the construction space. There's a lot of groups in the lease admin space. And how do you think about, like, there's this race to produce AI products to sell into organizations right now. And so how do you think about that?
I would say that so this is one of my approach to think about it. When I saw where AI is going, the cost of software is going to zero. You can really produce like the new software very fast. And if you are a retailer, like to build a store, just to build a store, you have like 140 operations to do. And most of the software, if you think about that, is very horizontal. So, for example, AI for supply chain, AI for procurement, AI for site search, AI for like leasing. So all that very horizontal, and they're trying to scale across like the different verticals. What we do at Surface, we do like, vertical approach. We focus only on retail store development. And we, exactly as you mentioned, if you would spend like 6 months to implement every new solution, like to deploy all that, like, 100 plus solution, you need like, 50 years. So which is like a lot. But if you would implement one agent, which is Surface is, and that agent will start be like, one-stop shop solution, then it's mean that you don't need like all that, like, bunch of different technologies. You need just one. So that's why we save you a lot of time. And that's why.
But to
Also,
challenge that, Alim, that was the pitch of software too, right? All these companies where there was a lot of groups who were trying to be everything to everybody and selling into. And to me, it feels like the next level of the software era, right? I agree that software cost is coming down, but that's what software companies were, right? Everyone started horizontal, and then organizations went back to the software groups and like, listen, I need all these things to talk to each other. I need one for everything. And then they went back to the drawing board, and it was just this evolution. And before I think they actually got to the end of the rainbow, now AI came, and AI starting in the same process. Joe, you're feeling what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I actually wrote an article about this recently on how every market goes from horizontal to vertical and why. Horizontal solutions are this great thing. They're everything to everybody. They do a little bit of everything well enough. It's a black box. We never had that before. How cool is this?
Exactly.
And then the users go, this is great, but I needed to do this for my market. I
Exactly.
don't care if it does that. So we are a pure vertical play. I'm a retailer. I've been in retail technology my whole life. I grew up in Marriott IT department. I mean, literally, I've spent my whole life in retail. The people that we're bringing into the company are the same. Lucernix was built the same way, built by retailers for retailers. We're not focusing on other markets. What's the difference? Great, a vertical solutions, a horizontal solutions, great, but are they going to know how to build CamRec with 160 different versions of percentage rent that are out there and the different terms that could be in those leases? Retail leases, as you know, are the most complicated lease on the planet. We know that. Um, we know the software that's in the space, and it doesn't take long to implement us because I went through that with Lucernix where it took 6 months and $500,000, $1 million to implement it. We can implement in 3 to 4 weeks, and it doesn't cost that much because we're not doing these huge integrations. You don't get rid of Lucernix, you don't get rid of Procore, you don't get rid of Smart Sheets. Keep that stuff. It's great. It's working for you. We sit on top of it, make it all better. So what you're talking about is the typical horizontal versus vertical play. Every single software market through history has gone through this.
Right.
We're just there first in retail. We're the first ones we're doing retail. We're bringing in retail people, and we're getting down into the trenches with retailers to do things like email automation specifically around landlord letters. ChatGPT is not going to do that. Um, and that's the difference. Vertical plays win when you focus with expertise from the market and you build expertise and partner. And again, we have relationships because my time with Lucernix, I have relationships with a lot of retailers. Alim's getting those on the construction side. It matters. Relationships, as you know, matter big time in the retail industry.
How is so right now it feels like that AI's capability is way ahead of adoption for a lot of different reasons, whether on a macro it could be power, on the typical tipping point to get users using it, a fear factor, a lot of different reasons. When how far away do you guys think we are to like mass scale adoption?
I would say that we are just starting, like early adopters use the system and not just excited, but also like start benefit from it. And I think that other people's like seeing this like happen start not just being simply curious, they start like do some like real
Yeah,
actions to start implementing that.
yeah, and I could tell you, once the ball gets rolling in retail's relationships. Everybody knows everybody on the tenant side, right? So I've seen this happen multiple times in the industry. Once you gain trust in the industry and you show you're there for them and you're just there for retailers, the ball gets rolling and then you have trouble slowing it down. I mean, we grew over 100% 6 years in a row at Lucernix. I had so much trouble keeping up with growth. We're going to see that. So where do I think we are? I think within the next 2 years, you're going to see massive uptake. And to Alim's credit, Alim goes out of his way to make it incredibly approachable and simple. We don't even generally, we say AI, but we try not to say it too often because we don't want to scare people, right? We really focus on what does this do for you, right? Specifically, what is the benefit you're going to get every day out of this? Let us show you. And that's where we really see people's eyes open up. We show them their data. We show them the decisions they can make quicker. Um, we talked to one lease administrator. She gets 500 emails a day where she can only go through and pick out the most important ones overnight. All of a sudden, the system does most of the work for her, and she can actually read her emails again. So
I
it's
would
going to
say
be
that like
results.
it's in terms of aerospace, it's Gagarin is returned safely back. This is where we are.
There you go.
So, okay, that helpful. How, if we go further on adoption, how I I would say through the last software era, adoption was strong, but always very measured because people were, you could throw a lot of money at technology and get nowhere.
Mhm.
And so it got adopted. How are you guys doing as you go and you meet with retailers to try to get them um into Surface, or get Surface into into their world? How has it been received? And I'm sure everyone is fascinated with the product. I don't mean that. I mean the actual challenge of, Joe, who do you deal with on your side, on the retailer side, often? What the counterpart?
VP of real estate.
All right, so that VP of real estate has to go in and say, "Hey, I have this thing. It's not in our budget. It's not how we did things. We have to, right? We have to go and change this. It's an AI solution." And then someone executive's like, "Whoa, we're working on this other AI solution here." And how has that been going?
You've been listening to my phone calls, Chris. Um, No, there's some of that. I think the age-old question of buy versus build, retailers are retailers, they shouldn't be building software. Number one. That is a relatively easy thing. They're
Sure.
building things, they're building things because it's not there. They don't see anything. We have these conversations. Yes, they're fascinated, they're blown away by the software. And yes, we do get the delays of, hey, we don't have budget this year. But we also get some of them going, Wall Street has told us we have to adopt AI, so we do have budget. We don't know what to buy. We don't even know how to buy or how to evaluate, but we know we have to buy something. So it's kind of it's a two-edged sword. To Alim's point, there's some early adopters that are jumping at us, and that we've already got a few in line. We've got several more coming. But there is going to be that period of time where you get the early adopters, and then they're going to help us sell the next people and build the confidence in the rest of them. But I honestly don't think generally in the public companies that the challenge is going to be the budget. They have to implement AI. They are being told that they have to, because if they don't, they're going to be dead. I mean, you cannot. This is the industrial revolution level of change in what's happening, particularly with agentic AI. Keep in
And
mind,
I
there's
yeah, and
Go
I'd like
ahead.
to add
I'm sorry.
here that when we start first, like trying to sell that AI to, and AI is a buzzword right now. Everyone is talking about AI. And I quickly realized that, okay, AI is the system that, like the word that people even scare, to talk about. But when you start talking about the capabilities of AI, like lease reabstraction, do you want to do manually like 500 lease reabstraction and pay like couple of $100 for that? You don't. What if I say I can do like, 10 times cheaper? You would actually love it. Do you care if that AI or not AI? You don't care. You care about the output. You care about like how much I would pay. Would it be the same accurate as I would do that manually? And when we start showing that, we even start see that people say like, oh my God, like I spent like, a lot of years of my life doing that manually. And if AI can help here, I would love to delegate that. And we're usually trying to start from the task that people hate most. I don't think that you should be like use all your intelligent power to just like look into the document and then type in the the information from that document. This is something that locks the intelligence. This is something that people hate to do. And this is what AI agent can do. So that's why we would happy like to jump in what not with the AI word, but like lease reabstraction, co-tenancy evaluation, like schedule management. So that's kind of like their thing we're doing, not just AI.
What helpful. Thanks, Alim. The Has there been a fear factor with organizations, as like, I don't know, this is going to take my job. I don't know. Why would I buy this?
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt that that's out there. But the reality of it is, retailers do more with less, do more with less, do more with less. They're understaffed. So we're not eliminating the jobs. The people who are going to survive in any industry are going to be the ones who adopt AI the quickest and make it part of what they do because they become more efficient. So yes, can you have fewer people in a department? Yeah, over time you might, but we have some great graphics on there where we're taking what is the person up front, taking a piece of paper, typing it into a computer, and moving their role to the end where they're just reviewing things and making decisions with what got typed into the computer by the AI. So it takes humans out of the repetitive BS tasks that they don't need to be doing into decision making and giving them the intelligence to do it without all the boring stuff. But yeah, I mean, is AI going to impact some jobs over time? Yes. But
The thing
honestly,
is that's what I hear about the positives, right? And then about AI, and then you see some article from some public company that laid off people because of AI. So there's definitely this tug and pull that's happening in the marketplace right now. So you guys are already launched you have some clients who have adopted and use it. What's one of the retailers that you guys are working with?
Yeah, we can name all of the customers, but just recently we got like article published on ICSC, so we now can talk about like our JD Sports case. JD North America. This is like a global company with like I guess 4,000 plus stores all around
Yeah.
the world, and we're working with them in like North America specifically. So we started like 9 months ago, and it's going like very positive. We have like the active usage. We have like see the value there. We see like AI shortcut a lot of like business process. We already deployed like 114 AI playbooks, which is like literally like a business workflows where AI start participating. So that's where we are.
Do you have any simple, easy to understand use cases of like, we did this for JD and here's the outcome?
So one of the simple thing, and I'd love to share that one, is like once you want to understand which projects are behind the schedule, if you're building that stores, especially if you're building 100 stores, at the same time, you need to go into like smart sheets. You need to filter all the dates. You need to check your inbox. You need to update the numbers. So literally you spend like like 20, 30 minutes to prepare that report. Now they simply can just type in and say like, hey, show me like which projects are behind the schedule. Bam, like in like less than a minute, AI gives you the whole idea like of where the projects are behind the schedule. Another one thing is even like super small thing is like, can I order a site survey? So to order site survey, you need to go to the system, find the LOD plan. You need to understand like who is a vendor. You need to understand like where exactly that potential store is located, and then you need to draft an email. So usually it took like 20 minutes. Now with AI, I simply say like, hey, can you order site survey for like store 1155, and then like in 2 minutes you already have like your email out. So that's a kind of a simple thing
That's
that
great.
AI is already helping with. But there is also like a more complex thing like a project closeout. Project closeout where AI need to check all the documents that you already collected, like lien waivers, construction drawings, all that information, everything is signed that you collected like and requested like tenant allowance, construction tenant allowance. So all that like playbook might like save like hours of that like program manager and project manager. So that is already live.
Got it. How about on the lease admin end?
From the list admin, we're doing like reabstraction for sure. This is one of the biggest pain point. And then even simpler thing like list admin usually have a lot of requests like from the facilities, for example, like who is responsible for that like HVAC changing, or like who is responsible for that like I don't know like area improvements. So sometimes you need to go look at the lease agreement, understand whether we are like responsible as a tenant or landlord, and do that manually. It's super hard. Now you can simply text AI and get an answer.
Yeah, the one that always blows me away as a lease guy is the renewal decision making, where you could say, "Tell me about the next 10 stores that have to make a renewal decision on," and then you drill in on a store, and it gives you an entire financial analysis of your choices, what it would recommend, and the kind of financial impact it would have, and it could do it in a couple minutes versus all the documents you have to collect and read the leases, and it's dramatic. The time savings is dramatic. And that's why JD Sports is so happy with us.
So can to go on a technical end, and we'll use a lease one. I'm a landlord, so we'll use a lease one, right? So uh on a lease admin, if let's just say I have Copilot, I have Microsoft 365, I have Copilot, and I ask Copilot to, I create this strong prompt that I want Copilot to go and read this lease and give me the co-tenancy analysis. If I just got Copilot and Microsoft out of the box, that could be very wonky. I might not get the actual there's a lot that goes into the specific prompt, the type of file, it going from into wherever your file is stored, SharePoint, if did I upload it in Copilot or did it go? All these wonky things. Can you explain to someone who their experience is Chat, Claude, or, Copilot, and what the difference is between this unique, specific, vertically integrated platform and why it's able to do that better than those?
So I would say that Copilot, let's do that example, like Copilot and all that one shot, like, LLMs, the agents like ChatGPT, it's the same as like a phone service. You call, you text, or you call, you get the service, then you just finish the call. So, and then you receive that email. So this is like a one service, like you need to every time to call that back. You don't know what operator is. You don't know like how good is. Every time you need to guide him through how exactly this should be done. With agentic service with Surface, it's like you hiring the teammate who is sit in every time he comes to the office, it learns from you and it's like works for you. So that's a big difference, because now you can simply say, hey, can you check lease agreement for that store? You don't need to explain, you don't need to create every time the prompt, you don't need to do all that thing. You just simply send a command, and that converts AI to start doing all that sequence of steps. So AI knows how to do that. So that's a big difference.
And that's what when we refer to playbooks, that's what we're talking about. And that's
Yeah.
why we're retailers. We've built these playbooks, hundreds of them, that are these agents that are experts. So every time our CAMREC agent goes out and looks at the market to find out the stores that are closing, it keeps a record of that. It understands it. And then every time it goes through the leases, you don't have to tell it what co-tenancy is or what it means. You say, hey, what are my co-tenancy opportunities in the Northeast? You don't have to tell it what your stores are in the Northeast. You don't have to tell it what a co-tenancy opportunity is. It's been trained to do this, and it's learning every time. And because we've been doing this for a couple of years now, they're really well-trained agents. To Alim's point, agentic is a big difference. So when we say agentic, it means it's almost like we're building the perfect employee, right? They do nothing but this one thing. That's all they do forever. They do it really well. They learn from it all the time. That's what they do. So you don't need to tell it every time, oh, by the way, don't forget to add this to my search, because it's obvious. So, and this is what we mean about being verticalized. Because we're retailers, we're building this expertise in. An example for a landlord, on the tenant side, we track every negotiation and every part of the negotiation of the deal. Over time, we know where this specific landlord is more likely to give in a negotiation. We know what they typically give up in terms of percentage.
Better not be putting that in.
So not that we would do that to you, Chris, but your name will be out of it. But that's an example where this agent now knows these landlords, knows them really well. And hey, I'm doing a deal with this landlord. They're asking this. Tell me what's the best deal I can get. And it'll just tell you from experience.
And I would love to say that always JD Sports is living a bit in the future, because can you, for example, ask your copilot, start my day? You can do this. But imagine that you are coming to the office, you ask like, hey, Cynthia, whatever, like, what's our, like, like urgent task that I have right now? Like, can you help me start my day? This is one of the feature we already have in Surface. And this is one of the most popular one, where you can simply start your day by just typing like, hey, agent, start my day. And because it have all that context, it will show you, here is the 3 critical emails from that landlords. Here is like list admin that you need to take a look because like it's expires soon. Here is like information that you need to like, work on. So that is like agentic approach. This is like AI that is very like intelligent and advanced.
Got it. What haven't we talked about that we should?
I would say that one of the thing is we would love talk about is how people like should consider AI and how that changed the industry. I think this is one like would love to talk about.
Go for it. Tell me, how should people consider AI?
I would say that this is not a human replacement for sure. This is the machine that you can delegate all routine and mundane tasks. And this is an opportunity to unlock your creativity and intelligence. Because a lot of people, like when we started talking and working with it, like AI, they've been scared for sure. But then we saw that, it's the way how the people like start talking each other. They spend less on trying to understand where with the project right now, what will we have right now. They start talking more like on a product side. And in retail, the product is super important. Do we have a great lighting here? What should be like the design of the store? How user who is coming into the store like feel himself? How quickly he can find like the products? So that is way much more important first. The second thing, I'm originally from Kazakhstan. And for example, you probably know the brand the Alo Yoga. And they are not represented in Kazakhstan. And it might take like 5 years to them to come up to Kazakhstan. But people in Kazakhstan already heard about that brand. Why? Because the information is spreading so much faster than it was before. So why we don't think about AI that help you to enable faster store rollout? Why you can't open store like, in Kazakhstan in 2 years rather than in 5 or 10 years? So that is like, again, AI that helps you to capture the market faster. So that's how I think about it.
And I'll go to the scary side, which is you can try to keep AI out because you're afraid it's going to cost you jobs or change things, but your competitors aren't gonna. And at the end of the day, if you want to keep up with the market, AI is here. It is, like I said, it is as big a change as the Industrial Revolution. It's going to have that kind of impact. So the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to adopt, and the farther behind you're going to fall. There is a record number of stores closing in 2026. Record number of retail stores closing. And it's because this bifurcation in the market where the high-end stores, the luxury brands, and the low-end stores, the discount retailers are doing really well, and everything in the middle is not. And if you look at Macy's deciding to be a luxury retailer, Nordstrom deciding to switch a bunch of their stores to Nordstrom's ranks, the change is coming. It's coming really fast. So you could either use the AI to take advantage of that change, or you can let your competitors do it. It's just the harsh reality that technology doesn't stop because people are afraid of it.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been super educational. I really appreciate it. How do people find you?
Surface.pro.
Yeah. Just find us on LinkedIn.
Surface.pro.
Yeah, you should spell it for people.
SURFAI CE.pro.
There you go. All right, Joe and Alim, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks for your
Chris.
time, Chris. We appreciate you interviewing us. It was great.
Appreciate you watching. Hit subscribe. See you in the next one.